Thank you. Thank you. Really excited to be here, and I'm humbled to be in this group. A lot of wisdom, a lot of experience, and I really appreciate the opportunity to get to talk to you about the 5 ways that you can take your business to the next level and dominate your market, all right? And my name is Chris Kopf, and appreciate the introduction. And yes, I'm from Crested Butte, Colorado. How many people have been to Crested Butte? Awesome. I hope you come back this winter. We are now part of the Epic Pass. So come in the winter and ski, come in the summer and let's go play golf, fly fish, go hike. It's a beautiful place to be, and please feel free to call me at any time and say, hey, I'm coming, let's get a cup of coffee or have a meal. So as introduced, I'm really excited to say that been with Coldwell Banker now for about 9.5 years, and we moved from Texas, and I am a global luxury agent, and I feel like this is my home, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come to this event on an annual basis and get to interface and network with you all. And as stated, I'm among the top 1% of the 73,000 Coldwell Banker agents in North America, and I've been able to build my business by attracting affluent clients, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that I really haven't focused on outbound soliciting and cold calling, but it's been through attraction, and I work with affluent buyers and sellers, and I've able to achieve success in a pretty short period of time. And so I want to talk to you about that. But before I became a real estate agent, I was 30 years in technology sales and sales management, and gave me a lot of skills and a lot of things that I use, the knowledge and the skills that I use to apply to the real estate business. So I think today I'm going to share with you some of those things that might be a little bit different of things you might have heard before. One of the things I learned in the tech startup world was, time to market, very important. We were competing against a lot bigger companies. Our technology wasn't as mature. We didn't have as much coverage, as much money, as much marketing. And those are some of the same things we deal with as real estate agents every single day. So I also want to say that I think if you implement the things that I'm going to talk about today and the things that we have available to you as tools and resources, that you can achieve great things in your business. But I like to say that if you implement these things, you certainly should be able to achieve an additional $100,000 in your business over the next 12 months. So as introduced, my daughter Shelby in the back of the room. Shelby, raise your hand. So I'm super excited to put on my close every day and to be a top real estate agent in my market, and I couldn't do what we're doing with Real Estate System Secrets and this online academy and all the things that we've done without Shelby, who's really running the business and telling me what to do. But I recruited her away from Colorado Homes and Lifestyles magazine, and super excited the opportunity to work with Shelby. So I also want to thank Todd and Tammy for hosting the event and bringing us all together, because it's really through events like this that we get to network and share our experiences and the things that we're all doing individually that we might be able to learn from. So congratulations to you. There's a lot of global luxury agents in Colorado, but not all of them are sitting here. But you've made the choice to take this day away from your business and all the things that you're doing to be here to learn, figure out what you could do to adapt and change and get to the next level to help grow your business. The little nuggets that you might learn here. So congrats to you for taking the time. I think it's very, very important. So this is really for 2 types of agents, the things that I talk about, agents like yourself that are saying, all right, what can I learn? How can I take this material and implement it and take action in my business tomorrow? We come to a lot of these type of conferences, but if you don't take action when you go home and you don't figure out the things that you're going to implement, then you really have wasted time. And I know this group is a group of action takers, but then it's also another group of agents that might have had some success and but maybe not the consistency. The thing we hear mostly from agents is, gosh, I wish I had a better way to generate leads, and I wish I could have a more consistent business. So my big promise to you is that the only way to build a sustainable real estate business and be in your market and continue to be successful is through proven, repeatable systems. And that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can attract affluent clients that will contact you. And I'm going to reveal some of the secrets and the things that I've done in my business, things that I've done that are online, and a lot of things that I complement that with offline. Okay, so that's an important thing. Yes, I've been able to leverage technology, and I'll quote Dennis Saffel that said, gosh, you know, some of the things, you're like the can-do man, you're the just do it guy, you know, using the Nike slogan, and it's because I took action and did things, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way, a lot of things that didn't work, but it's important for us to continue to, like, you know, the earlier speaker said, it's to challenge ourselves, right, and take some risks. So Crested Butte, as you know, is a pretty small market, pretty small pond to fish in. The most expensive home ever sold, $4.5 million. Only 5 homes sold above $4 million. 10 homes ever sold between $3 and $4 million. So it's not like we're basking in you know, 5, 10, 15, $20 million transactions. And so I'll just, as being very transparent, last year my gross volume was a little over $34,880,000 in gross commission income. So, you know, I tried to, thank you. Thank you. And I want to say that I don't have a team. It's just me. I have some people that help me with some of the things, and based on the systems, I've tried to offload some of the things I've been doing so I could have other people do some of those things to free up my time. But if you have a team, all these things will work in your team. I also don't do outbound soliciting and cold calling, but if that's something that you're doing and it's working for you, I would always say continue to do that. But look at the things that I'm going to share with you today and say, how can I add to that? How can that be incremental? How can I take those golden nuggets and integrate those into my systems and my solutions and the things that you're doing? When I was driving here yesterday, listening to you know, the news about the elections and the midterm elections and all that stuff, the pollsters, they were saying it's getting very, very expensive to call and get predictive information about any election because people don't have landlines anymore. And if they call the cell phones, you know, we all have our contact information on the cell phones, and if it's an unknown number, you're probably not going to answer it. So it's getting very, very expensive to do outbound soliciting. And that's an interesting point I had not thought of, but for sure is certainly something that's changing as it relates to soliciting. So here's a quick story that my phone rang, and I got a call a few years ago from a very affluent and luminary client in my market, and they called me and said, hey, we want you to come talk to us about listing our home. And I super excited. So of course I prepared. I had my listing presentation. I went over it, and I created a property valuation report so I could speak intelligently. You know, I updated my market report so I could talk about the backdrop of what's happening, the patterns and trends in the market. And when I got there, they said, you know, that they'd already selected me to be their real estate agent. So it was great. I was, wow. And I said, why is that? And the wife pointed to the husband, it's because of your market report. And I looked at him, and he said, we've been getting your newsletter and your market report. And I said, when we're ready to list our home, you're going to be our agent. Okay? So before I got there, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to be competing with other agents, and I really want to win this business. But I had already earned their business before I showed up. All right? And that's going to be a consistent theme through this. So I represented this couple, and they helped them sell this home for almost $2 million. And this client has led to many other transactions and clients in my market, as we know. And that one slide in the previous speaker talked about, you know, I call it birds of a feather flock together. That if you are able to crack into a specific one client, that one client, right, can lead to additional business. In fact, I think the NAR stats say that for every client that we attract and we do business with, we should generate another 2 to 3 transactions from that. And so this represented over $4 million and over $132,000 in gross commission income with this one client, because I got that call, because I sent them my newsletter, my market report, and kept them current. And I served them before they even thought about using me as their business. So that's because I was a very good marketer, that I got to do real estate stuff. All right, and so my journey is going to be quick. I'll give you some perspective. I like to show this picture because I don't have any hair anymore, but when I was in middle school, that was me. I had long hair. And I went to the Ohio State University, not Alabama. But a couple years ago, Ohio State kicked Alabama's ass, by the way. Barry, you still here? But anyway, the SEC, that's always the SEC. They're like, well, the SEC is so fast. Those Midwestern farm boys can't keep up with those fast SEC. But anyway, I graduated with a marketing degree. That's me and my folks. My mom is no longer with us, but was very proud to get that marketing degree from Ohio State and moved to Texas. I read the book by John Naisbitt, Megatrends. Whoever read that book, and it was all about these 10 things that were happening in the world at the time, and the Sun Belt and technology were 2 of them. And so I got to Texas, and I met my bride Francine, and we had 3 beautiful daughters, and that's Shelby right there with no teeth in the middle with holding the stick. So I was in the technology world for 20 years, and I learned a lot of really valuable lessons in the technology world that I talked about earlier. But one of the things was that we really invested heavily in people, and time to market was really important, and bringing on really quality people and then training them to have the tools that they could utilize to help grow the business quickly, because we were always kind of working against the clock, and it was a very stressful environment working in technology. I traveled a lot. I obtained over 3 million American Vantage miles, and I used Southwest Airlines a lot as well because they're headquartered in Dallas. But this is a picture of our Christmas card picture from 2003. Unfortunately, at this point in time, we had some challenges in our marriage. Communication was an issue, but what happened was my wife came to me and said she wanted a divorce, and she didn't love me anymore. She didn't want to be married anymore. So it was a crushing, terrible time for me. I had just gotten a promotion. I was getting on a flight to London. I had a new job. I was going to be the OEM manager for the Network Appliance, the company I worked for, traveling around the world to major cities. And I realized this wasn't a good thing, and I had to make a choice. And I went to work the next day, and I resigned my position. I said, I'm going home to work with my family. I quit my job and 100% focused on being a husband and a father, and to support my family and my wife. And so I was making a lot of money, had a lot of stock options that I ended up leaving on the table. And so I became super dad and Mr. Mom all at the same time, and very, very grateful for that time and the opportunity, because I was absent a lot in our marriage and in my family and supporting my kids. But within a short period of time, we were able to renew our vows after about a year. And so it was a very, very, very thankful and happy thing. Thank you. And I learned some valuable lessons about not thinking about me. I could have said, you know what, I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to go, focus on my career. But I thought about not myself, but my family and the future. And so those were some valuable lessons about serving. So in 2009, we decided to move to Crested Butte, Colorado, and I decided to become a real estate agent. And at the time, I had no idea a lot of things that you probably know that I didn't know. Probably a good thing I didn't know that. That 65% of new real estate agents don't last a year. These are stats from NAR, that 80% don't make it 2 years. And the median income for a real estate agent in 2009 was $28,000. Nowhere near what I needed to do to support my family, right? So I set up a meeting with Dan McElroy, at the time was the managing broker, Coldwell Banker Bighorn Realty. And before we sat down, he said, I just want you to know that I don't hire anybody that doesn't have a real estate license and never been in the real estate business. And I was like, oh crap, well, how much time do we have? He goes, well, I said, can I have 30 minutes? So he granted me 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, he said, you're hired, but you got to get your real estate license. I'm like, okay, how do I do that? So I spent a month here in Denver. I commuted back and forth and got my real estate license. And on June 19th, 2009, I showed up in Crested Butte. You might remember 2009 wasn't the best time to be a real estate agent, especially in a resort market where a lot of the transactions are with affluent second homeowners, right? Well, people were not buying second homes at the time, right? People were pulling back. There wasn't a lot of transactions. So mortgage crisis, real estate crash, major recession. But what I did was I said, all right, I got to start from scratch. I have no leads, right? I don't have any clients, no training, and that was the reason he wasn't going to hire me, because he didn't really have a program to train me, and I knew very few people. So it was sink or swim, literally, for me, and I had to figure this out. And so I went to school, and I started learning and studying and reading and figuring all the things I could consume to say, all right, how can I leverage this new information, this new knowledge, and combine my 30 years of experience and figure out how to become a real estate agent. So I started branding myself and started figuring out how I could generate some business, right? And so it was about 3 years from my first transaction that I broke into the top 10 agents in my market. In the 4th year, I was the #1 agent in my market, and that was 2014. But the best thing was that we were living the mountain lifestyle and we were living the dream. We got the opportunity to live in a beautiful place where we had previously had a second home, and so it was a great thing. So what does all this have to do with you? You're probably, all right, can we get to the 5 secrets, right? So everything. The reason I tell that story is because it's really all of our journeys. Everybody has been there. You've either started out or you were at a place in your real estate business where you said, I got to start over. I got to do something different. What can I do? How can I, if I was starting from scratch today, what would I do? And so those sometimes are the things, even though you're very established, we do have things changing around us. So I hope that you take this and say, all right, what are the nuggets that I can use, right? And what aligns us? What's different? How many people went home to their spouse and said, hey, I got great news, I'm now a real estate agent, and your spouse said, well, how much money do you make? Well, I don't have a salary. No, I'm 100% commission. I only get paid when I sell something, right? When I get the client to the closing table. So we're a unique group of risk takers, right? So what do we like to do though? We like to serve others and help others, and we like to figure out how we can, grow our business. And yeah, we love the opportunity to earn a very nice income when we do that. But it's all about serving others and helping others. So the biggest thing though is that we get the freedom to run our business. We're all entrepreneurs, and that's a powerful thing, that we get the opportunity to make decisions every single day about how we're going to market ourselves, who we're going to go after, what clients do we want to serve, right? So this is a really good quote. There's a guy, Joe Polish, I listened to his podcast, and says there's a big difference. I'm going to add a couple words. Big difference between being good and get a good real estate agent and getting paid, and being a very good at marketing and being a real estate agent and getting paid very well, right? And if you can do a lot of really good marketing things, then you get to do a lot of real estate stuff. You get to work with a lot of clients. So it's very important. How many people have been here, right? At the bottom of the roller coaster, starting out, or you're on a cycle and you do a lot of prospecting and you figure out, all right, what do I need to do to generate leads? And you get up here and you get super busy. And then what happens, right? You get busy working with clients and transactions and all this stuff, and then you look around and you go, oh crap, I don't have anything under contract right now. I don't even have anything I think is gonna go under contract anytime soon, right? And so then you start prospecting over and over again. So it's this cycle that we can put ourselves in if we don't have a consistent business and systems in our business, right? So if you're nodding yes to this and this is you, then I had a wrestling coach in high school, and he would stand before us and put his arms like this, and he'd say, you're either getting better or worse every single day relative to your competition. And in our business, it's not just our competition, but it's also what's happening around us, because there's change happening around us, right? And if you're not embracing that change and you're not figuring out how you can adapt and be relative, and how you can take the fact that, homeowners are not, the stats I saw from Todd's report were that the homeowner is generally going to hold their home for 6 years, now going to 10 years. If you're not staying in touch with those folks, nurturing them, being top of mind, when they get ready to sell that house, you're not going to be the agent that they're going to call, right? You want to be relative. You want to be top of mind. So I've done a lot of things right, but only after doing a lot of things wrong. And so what makes this different is that I've found that soliciting and outbound cold calling and those things that I was taught, and I got the Keller Williams book, and I read that thing front to back and all these things, and it was just not working in my market. And I didn't think, and I can tell stories about each one of those, and I'm not going to focus on that. I'm really going to talk about the things that I've been doing that are working. And so what I've learned is attraction is key. If you can attract people to contact you, if you can be authority in your market, have credibility and expertise, if you can have repeatable systems. We only have so many hours in the day, so if you can figure out something that works and then figure out how to create a system out of it and then be very efficient in implementing it yourself or handing it off to somebody else to help you implement it, whether that's an assistant or a virtual assistant or a team member, somebody else, then those are good things because that frees up time, right? The internet is our friend, and I'm going to talk about how we're complementing offline and online. All right, so secret number one. Before I tell you that, I want you to make sure you keep an open mind, but we're going to talk about how to create systemized flow of new affluent clients that will contact you. And as I said, you can't do real estate stuff without real estate clients. So a couple stats from National Association of Realtors, and I saw these early on, and it didn't like register, it didn't get implanted in my brain, but when I saw them again, I had an epiphany moment. 67% of buyers only contact one agent and do business with that agent, right? And then almost 80% of all sellers, 77% of all sellers don't use the same agent that they use to buy their home. And so a lot of us in here are very established, and you might be saying, no, these are all my clients, right? Well, guess what? National Association of Realtors statistic doesn't play out. And everybody's had this situation where you're like, what's the reaction when you're like, holy crap, that client didn't use me to sell their home. I just saw that listing. There's no way. How could that be, right? And then 67, 2/3 of the population, the general public, doesn't trust us, right? Those are things we have to overcome. And so I saw those stats again, and I was like, whoa, all I need to do is be top of mind. All I have to be is that one agent. And if I'm average, then 67% of the folks that call me are going to want to do business with me. But if I can show up and be even a little bit better than average, then that other 33%, I'm going to get my market share. I'm going to get a little bit more of what's, that I'm going after. So you have to have a systemized flow of clients that are coming to you, right? To deliver those clients to you. And just a quick story, because I've got 3 daughters and a beautiful wife, and we have a dog that's a female, so I'm totally outnumbered in our household. But I've learned that fashion and is very important to women. It's also very expensive, and you can have for a gala event or a prom or something, you can have the right outfit. But guess what? If you're missing the shoes, then it's like, whoa, so much chaos. And we have a house full, a closet full of shoes, but they never go. They don't go. I've learned that. Those don't go. And then they have to have a new purse too that goes with that. So what's the analogy in our real estate business, right? You might have all the things in your real estate business. You might have the skills and the knowledge, but if you're not delivering a steady stream of clients that are contacting you, then you're waiting. You can't do that real estate stuff. Okay, so how do you get new shoes? You go out and buy them. How do we get new real estate clients? They check you out, and then they select you, and then you get to sign a buyer agency agreement or a listing agreement, right? So it's a little bit different because they are looking online, they are doing research, they are checking you out. So another fact from our National Association of Realtors member profile from 2017. All of our brethren in the community, I think we're 1 million or so agents, say it's harder to get listings. Technology is hard to deal with, right? And that most agents, only 52% of agents even have a website, but it's not generating leads. My website generates leads, okay? And there's a lot of traditional and non-traditional competition. It's getting fiercer. So what are we learning from the public, the general public? How are they searching for real estate? What are they doing? They're going online. 95% of buyers go online first. They start checking out Zillow and all the online, right? What's the market? What's going on? How much do houses cost? What areas do we want to live in? What communities? Right? And then what about real estate agents? Where are we in that online presence? What's our digital footprint? 48% of real estate agents don't even have a website. This is from 2017. 74% have no blog. 69% are scared of using social media to attract clients in their real estate business. So my epiphany was, whoa, if there's all these other real estate agents that aren't doing that, if I stepped in the way of all that traffic, of all those people on the internet, then I'm going to attract some affluent clients that'll want to do business with me, right? So instead of one-to-one, how can I leverage my time most efficiently and do one-to-many marketing? And if you've ever posted anything on the internet, and the adage is it lives on forever, right? And so I got a call regarding a subdivision in my market. It's called Buckhorn Ranch, and this was a number of years ago. There was a agent that had a listing with the developer, and I had a lot of people that were calling me about lots in this subdivision. So I said, I was listening to myself talk on the phone. I'm like, I'm gonna write a blog post, an article about that. So I did that, and I put it on my website, and I got a call from the listing agent all mad at me because the seller had called him and said, hey, this guy Chris Kopf, he's got all this great information, and it's more than you have, and you're the listing agent supposed to be marketing this subdivision. So he's all upset at me, and I said, it doesn't say anywhere in there that I'm representing, I'm the listing agent. I'm just publishing information that is of interest to buyers in my market so I can serve the market. Is that okay? And he wasn't too happy, but I'm like, if you find something in there that says I'm representing myself as the listing agent, just let me know, right? And so it's very powerful. If you put things out there, lives for a very, very long time. But you need systems to deliver a steady flow of affluent clients that will contact you. So who are your dream clients? That's a big question that I will have for you, that I think you can do an exercise. We'll talk a little bit about that. But you can't attract a steady flow of dream clients if you don't understand who they are, specifically who they are. Go through the details. And if, in the beginning, my marketing strategy was, okay, what's this thing called floor time? It was like 2 months before I was allowed to take floor time. And I was, or if you hear agents that are like, oh, my market is, there was an agent recently referred some business to me, and not a Coldwell Banker agent, but I said, well, tell me a little about your market. What area do you serve on the Front Range? Oh, from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. How do you specialize in any area that's so big? Oh, I just do. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. But if that's what you're doing, and you see the ads in the publications, Susie Smith handling all your, Denver area real estate needs, right? If that's not a strategy for success, because you're appealing to everybody and nobody at the same time. So have you ever been, who's ever bought themselves a Christmas present? Put it under the tree, right? Wouldn't you like to do the same thing with your dream clients, so that when you unbox that client, it's the exact client that you want to do business with? Think of your best client, your favorite client, right? Who is that, and what do they look like? And how do you figure out how you can define who they are so you can attract more of those people, right? And my epiphany was, wow, I get to decide who I'm going to work with, right? This one secret has been very, very important for my success, because I am talking to the people that I want to do business with. I'm creating value. I'm creating the information and answering the questions that they're asking. And if you don't know what those questions are, just turn on your tape recorder or your iPhone and record the next phone call you have with one of your luminary affluent clients, right? And listen to the things that you're saying. Those are the answers that, well, guess what? If that one client has those questions, whether they're a buyer or seller, everybody in that same, birds of a feather flock together, having some of those same questions. So who gets to choose? You do, right? We do. So make good choices and figure out who you want your dream clients to be, define who they are, and then figure out where are they? Where are they online and where are they offline? Okay? And who's currently serving them right now? Who has the database of all those people? What nonprofit or arts organization in your community are all of your dream clients hanging out at the gala events? And I hope you're there, right? I hope you're there offline. I hope you're aligning yourself with the executive director of that nonprofit and that arts group, or whatever the group that is serving your dream clients today, right? And then think about the questions that they're asking and how you can help answer those questions, right? And then go there and give them that information and add value. So take control of your ship is the lesson here. And you will attract a steady stream of dream clients that will call you, all right? So you want to know how I attract dream clients? I am online and offline, and I have valuable content that I create to attract these dream clients and build trust up front. So how do you build trust? And this is an example. The Center for the Arts they've done a capital campaign. They're building a big building. If you've been in Crested Butte this summer, you saw construction, big building in downtown Crested Butte. It's going to be 375-seat theater, really nice. And one of the things that they do is this thing called the Tour de Force. They open up, someone, volunteers, and I frequently talk to the executive director and say, hey, I just represented this buyer, they bought this big home, they're a candidate, I talked to them, and here's their contact info. I think they might want to host a Tour de Forks next year in the summer, right? I'm adding value. And so they have these gala events. It's about $200, $300 a plate to come to one of these events. They bring in a chef, open the home, and who's there? All the dream clients that I want to do business with, that I want to network with, right? Well, I also volunteer. My wife and I volunteer at these events. And I was at this home volunteering, and about 2 weeks later, this person that was the homeowner called me and said, hey, we saw you working, cleaning dishes, serving food, serving wine, all the things that you did. We did research of you online, and we talked to some people offline, and we want you to be our real estate agent to represent us when we go to sell our house, and we're ready for you to come talk to us. So I represented the seller of this home, listed it for $3.9 million. It sold for asking price. They were very happy. Guess what they did? They told all their friends. Birds of a feather flock together. So that's the way we build business. But it wasn't because I was going knocking on their door and saying, hey, I want to list your business whenever you're ready. No, I showed up in my community and I served my community before I was, asking for their business, right? I earned their business up front. So when we go to one of these gala events, as soon as you tell somebody you're a real estate agent, right? This is the next question. Right? The first question, how's the real estate market? Are you prepared? Right? And so I answer this intelligently because I do prepare a market report, and I know you have some great tools, and Todd was telling me about your new Panda, old Panda, some kind of Panda that sends out all this stuff and market reports, and that is awesome that that's automated for you. The only thing I would add is, are you taking and personalizing that in any way, shape, or form? Are you adding your own touch, right? Do you have a favorite news show that you like to watch at night, and somebody that's going to tell you're going to turn into that same person? Well, our clients want to know too from us, and it's great that they're preparing that, but add your own personal touch and give your own narrative and summarize what's actually going on, and drill down into specific gated communities, golf course communities, specific luxury places in your area that you can stand out and differentiate yourself and add value, right? So I leverage this content, and my epiphany was, whoa, if I get out more in my community and I'm prepared, then I'm going to do a better job when I'm in front of those folks, right? And so here are the systems that I use. I publish valuable content. And if I do that up front, and I put it on my website, and I put it on social media, and I have physical copies, then I'm able to use online and offline. I get a client, I did it this morning, and it was an inquiry, right? And it was actually somebody that was here in Denver, Colorado, that had reached out to me. I said, by the way, I'm going to be in Denver. Would you like to get together for coffee? We tried to set it up, and they said, we're just going to wait. So I sent them my market report, newsletter. I forwarded to them a copy of my book. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But the thing is, you can use these things that are online and offline. I could send a link to a URL as well that's on my website. So, and I have a map of all the subdivisions, right? There's lots of resources, and I point them to those things on my website, right? Easy to do. I can do that like in 2 minutes. Okay? So you're just one affluent client away, and it depends if you're prepared and you're ready. So secret number 4, attract clients and how to stand out and differentiate yourself and be valuable. Okay? Few really important things. So I fly a flag out on our house in the summer, and every year, the sun, it gets faded, and I buy a new flag. So how many people know how much a flag like this might cost, right? You fly a flag? Anybody in the military here? Raise your hand. Thank you for your service. So, and if you're in the military and you're not using that as part of your story, we're going to talk about that in a second, then you're not reaching all the people that you could otherwise reach, because there's a great respect and admiration for the service that you've provided for our country. But if you go to Amazon, you look, there's a flag like that will cost anywhere from between $29 and $49. So how much would you spend for that flag? $29 to $49, right? And there's different things. There's like the swivels that won't tangle up, and there's some UV protection exterior, and some come with a pole, some come with a little thing that you put on the house that you stick the pole in. There's different flags, but basically they're all the same, right? All the same, just like all the real estate agents in Colorado, we're all the same, right? Not necessarily. How much would you pay? Would you pay $49 for the flag that was draped over JFK's casket? How about Ronald Reagan? How about the flag that was presented to Princess Diana's family, or her heirs, her sons? How much do you think that flag is worth? What if they put 2 flags on the moon and they brought one of them back and they had it at an auction? How much do you think that would go for, right? How about this flag that was planted in Iwo Jima, right? Well, guess what? This flag sold for $350,000 and it was flying over Normandy. What's the difference between these flags? It's just a flag. In fact, this one is all torn up. It should sell for less. It's the story, right? And so what is your story? How are you differentiating yourself in your market? Are you really thinking about all the things that differentiate you and how you can use your story to add value, right? What's the emotion? What's the connection? What's the value? And how do you differentiate yourself to attract dream clients? And that was my epiphany. Wow, if I work hard on figuring out, because guess what? We are the product and we are the service. When I worked in the technology world, I was selling hardware and software and support services, but that was this kind of ambiguous thing, or this piece of hardware. Well, now I am that product and service, right? And Coldwell Banker and all the tools and all the things we have in global luxury and all the things that Todd and Chris produce for you to help you, that's all part of your offering, right? So you need to be really good at selling that story and then leveraging your passion. Okay, so what is the passion? What are the things when you say, I want to align with my dream client, and you think of the things that are really important to you? What are those things? One of the things for me is fly fishing. I really enjoy skiing and cross-country skiing and skidding up the mountain. I enjoy golf and hiking and mountain biking, but I really enjoy fly fishing. And so guess what? I publish a lot of photos, and I take clients, and I've been publishing photos with me and clients. I write articles about fly fishing, different sections you could fly fish, where the public water is, where the private water is, the differences, right? So I was the first, I brought the first buyer to this development called Wilder on the Taylor. 2 miles of the Taylor River run through it. It was $1.5 million transaction. And then I got to earn the right to represent the developer and help them sell another 6 lots there, over $11 million in total volume, $337,000 in gross commission income, because I was working with people that like to do something I like to do, which was fly fish. And I attracted them because of my passion. And I figured out how to continue to leverage that. And I've sold a lot of other. In fact, this closed yesterday, this home. I represented the buyer, so got fishing rights, $1,970,000. 500. You can tell there might have been a little negotiation in there. Okay. I'm also representing the developer of a development called the Reserve on the East River. There's some reseller lots and some developer lots, over $18 million listing when you combine those 12 lots. So think about what your passion is, combine it with your real estate business, and you will be living the dream, and you will stand out and differentiate yourself, and you will be valuable to attract those dream clients to call you. All right, let's talk about secret number 5, how to establish authority in your market. Okay, and it was 2009, and I was soliciting, I was working my sphere. There was very few buyers in the market at that time, right? And I got a call from my sister-in-law. I was so excited. She said, guess what? This couple wants to buy a house in Crested Butte. They had my tennis team up to the house with the second home, and she's all excited, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And they were from Dallas, we were from Dallas. They were members of the same country club, Royal Oaks Country Club, that we were members of in Dallas. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome, a shoe-in. Like checking off all the boxes in the sphere of influence, right? I'm calling them, I'm emailing them, and they're not returning my calls. Guess what? Good news, they bought a home for $2.2 million. The bad news, they didn't use me as their real estate agent. Why? I mean, I had all of the sphere of influence boxes checked, and it was because they didn't respect me as a real estate agent. I hadn't earned their trust, right? And so there's a lot of things on this slide, but the key message is I didn't have their trust to handle the real estate transaction, right? And so on the bottom level, there's cold traffic and then warm traffic, and at the very top, hot traffic, meaning the people that you take up that trust ladder, they're going to refer you, they're going to be testimonials, they're going to give you references, right? They're going to help you. And the people that don't know you, they don't know you, like you, or trust you, it's going to be a lot harder, right? And that's what I was battling up against.
So my epiphany was, wow, I need to establish trust. Maybe there's a better way, a new way. What can I do differently? And this is when I started really focusing on creating value and creating marketing. And so I send out a monthly newsletter. Some of you in here get it. And I try to make it entertaining and informative, and I speak about things that are going on, that are top of mind, current events, different things. And people stop me on the street all the time and they go, hey, you're Chris Kopf, you're that Chris Kopf guy, I get your newsletter. I'm like, awesome, I have no idea who I'm talking to. And I'm like, thank you. So I hope it's informative. Oh, it's awesome. I actually forwarded, it's like 5 people. I'm like, great, yes, right? Birds of a feather flock together. And in that newsletter is my market report. And I give a narrative and it makes me an authority. I stand out as an expert, right? And then I do these things called lifestyle videos. And I just want to acknowledge Rick Mackley in the back. And if you're not working with Rockin' Media and Rick, there's all the video tours and the photography. I'll bring him into Crested Butte. And I put him up on a hotel. I feed him. He doesn't need a whole lot, mostly power bars. Oh, there he is. So anyway, we started doing this thing called lifestyle videos. So I remember those luminaries in the community. Remember the Center for the Arts. So right here on that slide, that's Jenny Burney. She's the executive director for the Center for the Arts. And we started doing lifestyle videos supporting her. And I'm like, how can I expose your needs of your capital campaign, the things you're doing to my list, right? How can I serve you, Jenny? And so we started doing these lifestyle videos. And then I invited her to my event in Dallas. This will be the 10th, next week I'll have the 10th annual event that I've hosted in Dallas, 75 or 90 people that I bring together, and I bring a speaker from Crested Butte to talk to this group. I bring Crested Butte to Dallas, okay? And I brought her to Dallas, and then after that, guess what? She said, we're thinking about selling our home and buying a home. Guess who she called? Because I had already served her up front, right? But all these lifestyle videos. So now it's me interviewing a luminary in my community. Could be a nonprofit executive director, could be a business owner, could be these guys in the back right corner. Architect, interior design, people interested about remodeling their home, new kitchens, you know, all those kind of things. What are you doing to stand out to be an expert and align with them? Guess what? You create that video, put it on your website, you put it on your Facebook, and you send them the link. Guess what they do with it? They put it on their website, on their social media, and now you're there standing with this person, right? And people are exposed to you they otherwise wouldn't get exposure to, right? I've written these 2 books, The Complete Guide to Buying Your Mountain Dream Home and The Complete Guide to Selling Your Mountain Dream Home. Why did I do that? Because it makes me an expert and stands out. And all the things that I'm talking on the phone, remember I said record yourself? Those are all the answers to the questions that I say anyway. It's nothing different than what you do every single day. I just documented it, created a nice little book. Guess how much these cost? A lot less than the stupid calendars and magnets and Denver Broncos schedules and coffee cups and pens. You know, like $3 per book. And when they get that and they open it, I've had people, oh, wait, what? Will you sign it? They want me to sign the book, right? So what's the difference? I'm publishing, right? It's helped me obtain over $100 million in new business because I'm perceived as the expert. And because I'm perceived as the expert and I get to do real estate stuff, I become an expert because I get to work on more transactions. And every time I learn something different, it makes me smarter, a little bit more authoritative, a little bit more referenceable, right? And so in our online academy, we have experts or authors. There's a lot of different things that you can do. Look at this slide. You can blog, you can do social media. So and I was in Frisco, and about 25 agents. Dennis invited me to speak, and I did a blog post in 5 minutes. People are like, oh, I don't have enough time to do that. I don't know how to do that. I showed how I could do a blog post in 5 minutes, right? And I do a lot of them, and now I've offloaded that to somebody else. My content, things I've written, but I'm not doing them myself anymore. So what's your digital footprint, right? When someone shows up and they do research and they go to realtor.com or your brokerage website, this kills me. Is this what they see? Is a grayed out image of you? Guess what? Next. You think they're going to want to do business with somebody that looks like that, right? Is that person smiling back at them? No. So you might be saying, okay, I'm not a techie. How do I do this, right? I don't have enough time. How do I do this? Well, like I said, what do you say to clients? Blog post can take you 5 minutes. Hire an assistant, a virtual assistant. Find somebody else to help you. Outsource it.
You can transcribe on your phone. You can talk into your phone and send it to this website, rev.com. For $1 a minute, they'll transcribe it. You don't even have to write it. You can just talk. You could be driving in your car and talk, and then send it to rev.com, and they'll transcribe it, and you can edit it and put it on your website, or give it to somebody else, put it on your website, create a blog, then take that link and post it to social media, all the social media spots, right? Upwork.com, freelancer.com, fiverr.com, $20banners.com. I talked to this guy, Drew Wilkie of Luxury Presence. Jade Mills is evidently the first client they ever had. Very successful Coldwell Banker agent, right? I said, tell me about all, spent an hour on the phone with him. I said, wow, this is all the things that I've already done. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to leverage much of your systems, but I know a lot of agents that haven't even started with their digital footprint that you could help. So you could reach out to him. We also have a done for you program as well. And so the question is, are you thinking about this as glass half empty? Or are you saying, like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, right? So what's one extra client worth in your market? Remember, my market, average transaction, you know, not 2, 3, 4, 5 million, but do the math in your market. Figure out if you had to stretch a little bit and you wanted to identify that dream client that you want to do business with, what's that number? Is it 2 million, 3 million, 5 million? What is it? What would that mean to you in income, in gross commission income, net income to you, right? So you can either sit there and say, okay, I'm going to just, you know, this is interesting, but I'm not going to take action. Why? Why wouldn't you figure out how you can leverage some of these things? So publishing will establish you as an authority in your market. So question, is this time well spent so far? Good. So you see how these systems can help you attract affluent clients, and if you can systemize this, and if you want to learn more, I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Shelby passed out. We're gonna give you a free gift, a PDF download of this thing called the Real Estate Dance Guide, and that was Shelby's idea, by the way. She's like, Dad, you're saying, you know, the step-by-step, simple steps to be a top real estate agent and all the moves you need. And she goes like, why don't we do this dance guide thing? So I'm like, all right, let's have fun with it. So we created the Real Estate Agent Dance Guide. And if you fill out the form on your desk, we'll send you an email and you can download it. It's got a lot more information than what I'm talking about up here. I can only scratch the surface because I only have an hour. But you'll learn the important steps you need, dance moves to avoid, so you can stand out, attract affluent clients, and build a sustainable real estate business into the future in your market. Okay? And there's some questions on there. I really appreciate your feedback. We're launching this, and I really want to get your feedback regarding the value you're getting from this talk today. So final thoughts, because I'm running out of time and we'll have a couple questions. So what's changed, right? What's changed around us? Our clients, our prospective clients, they're changing and they're using the internet, they're leveraging technology. And if we want to be where they are online and offline, and those are complementary, then we need to think about how we need to change to adapt, right? Because if they're wanting to text us, if they're searching for us online, and we have that grayed out profile, you know, and some agents say, nah, I don't have time for that. I'm too old, I'm too tired, I'm too established. Really? Remember those 80%? You think you own these clients? National Association of Realtors stats says you don't. So if you're not relevant, if you're not staying top of mind, if you're not in front of those folks online and offline, they're going to go somewhere else. And if you say, nah, I don't need to do any of this stuff, guess what? There's a lot of other real estate agents in your market that would love to list your clients' houses when they come around and say, in 10 years, I'm ready to sell, right? So remember that prospective client that didn't call me back and they bought a $2.2 million home and they didn't select me to be their real estate agent. Guess what? I put my systems in place, my newsletter, my micro report. I started getting out of my community and seeing them at some of these events, and they were there too. I built a relationship with them and I built trust, and they had another real estate need, and guess who they called? Not the agent that they used to buy that house, they called me. And it wasn't a big transaction, $175,000 lot that was next door to their house that they wanted to sell. And I represented them on that. I did my homework. I really worked hard. And they said, we want you to be our listing agent. And then they also said, we want to buy something else. We want to buy a piece of land. Remember that subdivision where the river runs through it? I represented them on a purchase of a lot over almost a $2 million total, over $57,000 in gross commission income because I served them and I didn't walk away. I said, all right, what can I do differently? How can I change and adapt so I can earn their trust? Okay? And I did it because, they called me because I was a good marketer, right? And then I got to be a real estate agent. But I built that relationship that Barry talked about earlier. Remember how you didn't even get to be hired with Coldwell Banker? I didn't even almost get the job. Dan McElroy, gave me the stiff arm. He's like, I don't hire anybody that doesn't have a license. Well, guess what? 8 years, almost 8 years to the day, he called me into his office and he said, hey, I want to talk to you about the opportunity to buy the Coldwell Banker Bighorn Realty office. Right? What changed? I demonstrated my skill, my ethic. I woke up every day and I said, how can I work hard to serve my clients and my local brokerage and Coldwell Banker? And now I'm an owner broker, and I'm so happy to be partnered with Dennis Saffel and the Coldwell Banker Mountain Properties, and we acquired and Molly Eldridge is part of the team, and the Red Lady office that we merged together. Super, super cool. What changed? What was different, right? And my wife said to me, hey, I want a divorce, and I don't love you anymore, and I want out. And I could have said, right? I could have gone back to work. I should have said, okay, I got my career and all my material possessions, all the money I got in the bank, but I didn't say that. So what can I do to serve my wife and my family, right? I figured out how to think about what I could do differently, me personally, right? I could have pointed the finger. And I didn't know where that was going to lead. I just said, I'm here. Today we have a healthy family, 27 years in August this year. Thank you. So the lesson that I would leave you with is, how can you serve others? How can you change and adapt? How can you take action when you leave here and take your life and your business to the next level and dominate your market? Thank you very much.